These countries, they have very vibrant knowledge system, just like the chairman said. Their universities are good. They are training people to do those three things: solve poverty, build skills, and build institutions. The universities don't waste time, not like others, and so on and so forth. So many of these things. And then they don't need to come like we normally do, to come and say, oh, I'm doing something, clap for me. No, you will just see that they are globally visible and relevant. They produce things, and so on and so forth. Their environment is nice, demonstrating that they are productive. Now, in the early times of history, or decades, the countries that were able to do this and belong to the group of developed countries were mostly in Europe, and the Europeans moved to North America and developed that too. And they dominated this for long. If you wanted a car, it has to be a European or American car. If you want to have power stations, it has to be European, and so on and so forth. But then, some countries realized that this is very frustrating. How come we cannot follow that menu? Why can't we make our schools good? Why can't we make our policies also evidence-based? So they studied, and they learned, and they adopted that menu, and then they now started becoming emerging rich countries. Now they are showcasing technology relevance. They are also showcasing all these things that the developed countries are showcasing. But then, there are many countries that have not really bothered to check, to study, follow, or learn. And these countries don't have anything to show. Their productivity is low. They drink bad water. They enjoy it. They have high poverty. They enjoy it, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, these are the third world class. They are sometimes called developing poor countries. Sometimes they are called least developed countries. Sometimes they are underdeveloping or underdeveloped. In fact, there was a time I can remember in the service when Nigeria hears that they are giving money to least developed countries. Somehow we change our definition and we become least developed country so that we can access those resources. And then when that passes, we then start say, no, we are not least developed country, we are underdeveloped. So unfortunately, these are the poor and vulnerable countries in the world. We know that our country is in this part of countries. There's no joke about it. And this is why I think this particular forum chooses to discuss this, as the chairman said. And I also believe that that is why the president himself made the clarion call to send us back to the beginning, to say that, look, he wants to ensure that he sets an agenda of his plan, his next level, his development strategy of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by 2030. You see, we're back to square one. Unless you solve this absolute poverty, you cannot make progress. So I think to make it relevant from this theoretical analysis, we have to talk about our country. Let us look at our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats like any strategic developer can do. We have a very high population. To me, it's a strength and opportunity. A lot of people think it's a problem, but I don't. Look, I schooled in the United Kingdom. When I went there, every morning, they'll put 2 bottles of milk in front of your door. Free. Because milk is a standard product that indicates development. It comes from milk. So they don't want you to come from Nigeria with your poverty and start causing crisis there. They give you milk to drink to calm you down. But every day you get these 2 bottles. Now imagine, if it is an index of productivity and development, can we close our eyes and imagine Nigeria reaching that level? 200 million people. In fact, let's not say 2 bottles of milk. Let's say 1 glass. And 1 glass, I check, is around 200 naira or so. So if you give 1 glass to every Nigerian, and everybody can drink milk, from old to young, 200 multiplied by 200 million. Million, 6 zeros, then 200, you add that, you are talking about 20 billion naira industry every single day. Just wait. In 10 days, it's 200 billion. In a month, it's 600 billion. When you stretch it over a year, it's over 6 trillion naira. Only milk. And 1 glass, not 2 glass, not 2 bottles. But where does milk come from? may come from cows. I'm Fulani. We know cows. We can talk to them, we can tell them, cows, let's move. And you see cows move. What does cows eat and do to produce milk? They eat grass, they have to get pregnant, and they have to be well, and then you get milk. And we have cows, we have grass. So what is wrong that we cannot take advantage of this 6 trillion naira industry, which is probably more than getting close to our total budget? The reason is productivity. Unless you are organized and you are productive, even the strength and opportunity you have, you cannot take. So again, you continue through that, you get the paper free of charge. So the facts and realities about our country is that we have very few or no global products. We are not showcasing productivity in the real sense of the word. And therefore, this forum is an opportunity for serious and sober reflection. But we have reflected before. The permanent secretary reeled out some of these. In the 70s, the chairman will tell you, we thought actually we could do this. Raise our productivity, feed our country, raise our productivity, feed our industries with agro raw materials. We launched the operation Feed the Nation. In the 80s, we replaced it with the Green Revolution. I can tell you, there is not even a report why Operation Feed the Nation failed. We just jumped onto Green Revolution in the 80s. We again thought we could do that. And then as you go through the development, we did war against indiscipline. We actually thought it's indiscipline that is our problem. The president launched, we were there queuing up all over the place. We will carry banana peel all over. We thought that will raise our productivity. And then we went through MAMSA, we thought it's a social thing. We went through DIFRI, we thought it's a rural infrastructure, until we came to the 20s. Abacha launched Division 2010. We thought by year 2010, we will be so productive that we will generate our power, we will be the ones constructing our roads, we will do everything, our universities will be first class, and so on and so forth. That did not happen. By the time President Obasanjo came, he launched the NEEDS, National Economic and Empowerment. Everybody you see here participated in producing that document. In fact, with many of you. I was there. We were there, we were reading and talking and so on and so forth. We thought, no, this country is our opportunity. We did that. Then his 8 years finished. We couldn't achieve it. May God be with him, President Yar'Adua came. The same as again were collected to charity here. We sat down and did 7-point agenda. So no, the points are too many. Let's limit them to 7. We discussed and produced another document. And then, unfortunately, he died. His deputy, or his vice, inherited the government. No, that 7-point agenda is not. They called us again. We went to that, and then we produced transformation agenda document. We still couldn't do it. By the time this administration came in 2015, change mantra, changing everything took over. I remember I was a director general. If you do lecture like this and you don't say change mantra, you better go and pack your things from the office, because it's not a very nice thing to say. And so on and so forth. So you see, until now again, we are hitting the bottom that we want to live 100 million people out of poverty. It's not that we don't care about this country. It's not that we don't know what to do, but I can tell you we're not doing it properly. And all this is because we love this country. But we have always returned weak scores. So why? Why are we doing this? To me, the reason rotates around the understanding, like the chairman said, achieving high productivity, achieving quality productivity firmly depends on the vibrance, connectivity, and efficiency of your knowledge system. And this knowledge system must be hinged on an effective, you have to be scientific, not biology, chemistry, physics, but very, very scientific in nature. You have to have technology to drive it, and you have to innovate to ensure that you're constantly creative to solve problems. This is the master key. And I think this is what we don't understand, and this is the paradox. Unless we crack this, there's no cutting corners. This is it. It's a one-way. Now, so how do we understand so that we don't think science is about biology, engineering is about engineering, and innovation is about technocrats? So I divided the 3 houses into science, technology, and innovation to see what role do we play, like the chairman and permanent secretary said. If you go to the science house, the house where you have people who are constantly crunching ideas and numbers to see the way forward. Dangote cannot enter here easily because people here, they normally have PhDs and they study a lot. All the professors we have in the universities that the chairman read out are in this house. They are constantly crunching things. But what do you get from this house? What you get from this house is just knowledge, expertise, and specialization. If you continue just producing these people in this house, you will still have to import rice from Vietnam. They are not as useful as you think. You have to add something to them to be able to be realistic. So, and that is what takes you to the engineering and the technology house. Because the people who are here are the people who are productive enough and they have ability to transform the knowledge from the science house into socio-economic solutions and assets. They are good in transforming things to make them useful. And what do you get from this? Again, this is what we fail to understand. You get what we call as intellectual property, knowledge property, knowledge property. This we don't understand. Our own, if we can't see it, it does not exist. And knowledge, you can see Pamsek is a PhD holder, but I mean, there are times when you see professors, a professor who can change, this country, but they leave their hair standing like they use telephones that are not, and so when they come to enter a place, you chase them away. You think they have nothing, but they are carrying assets worth trillions of dollars. But when you see some idiot coming with starched gown, big telephone, walking like this, popping out of a Mercedes, you open the gate without asking, and you allow him. Yeah? So we don't understand it. So, but this intellectual property, when you understand it, it's exactly like any other property. Your house without a certificate of occupancy is not really your house. When somebody enters, you have to go to court and struggle. Your car, when they steal it, you can't produce the papers. The same thing with the knowledge. This certificate for the knowledge, giving you the legal ownership of this knowledge, is called intellectual property rights. And they come in different forms. I don't need to go through that. Now, the same thing with the car. Is your car. You have the papers. If you're not using it and it is sitting there, it's your liability. You have to charge the battery. You have to clean where rats have eaten the wires, and so on and so forth. The same thing with your knowledge asset. These university professors, the PhDs in the research institutions, as long as you are not using their output, you will see that they are now getting rusty until they just go crazy and they don't know why they are there. You must be able to devise a way to avoid that liability and utilize them. And that is what we call as technology transfer. You are moving this knowledge asset to your community so that they can work. And this is a specialization, another element of the paradox. So, and this, you can do it in many ways. Now, when you are able to move this technology to be utilized, that is when you have moved into the house of innovation. Because here, you don't need to know the science, you don't need to know the technology. This is where you have people who are, feasibility study people. They can see the future of this. They can train people with this technology. They have intellectual property management. They can do financing, licensing, and so on and so on. It's a very vibrant system, and it is this system, if it works, that you can now start recording your productivity. You will see your product, you will see your processes, you will see your know-how. So this is the value chain of this whole thing. And then you can see things very, very clearly. That's the theory. Let's look at our country. As the chairman said, if you look at our knowledge infrastructure, honestly, there are very few countries in the world that can boast of that. He told you. See, private universities from 1999 today, they are like 70-something. So 200 universities and more, 600 polytechnic or diploma awarding institutions, over 300 research organizations. No country in Africa has this. And these are working. Don't get me wrong, they're working. We're publishing, so we're producing knowledge. We have a space technology. We have a communication satellite in orbit that is capable of giving this country internet facilities down to primary school. Nigeria has it. We have Earth observation satellite in orbit that you can see anywhere. All these Boko Haram and so on, Nigeria has capability to see. We have it. We are into biotechnology. We're producing so many equipment of different types. This machine, if you have your DSTV manual, you'll see Hydrafoam. It's a South African company. South African company came to Nigeria and got the prototype for this hydrophone in Ota, our own neighboring. But yet, we're still sitting with the knowledge. And so you can see all sorts of things that we are able to do. The list is endless. We have even reverse engineered engines. There are institutions in Nigeria that have designed from paper to manufactured engine that you can be able to use on lawn mowers, small generators, and so on. Nigeria has that knowledge. Foreign technology transfer, we have seen, Innosoft in Enugu have transferred technology, so we know that too. IPR commercialization, we have done that, we have patents too. We have commercialized Zekel in Nigeria here, and we have produced Nicosan, the most potent sickle cell anemia drug in the world, was produced here in Nigeria. In Gwagwalada here, they were manufacturing the capsule. You know, low and traditional things, we have so many, you know. In fact, our own technology, some people came and said, you know, Chapman, when you go to Shagalinku, you buy Chapman, big cup like this with orange, pineapple, everything in it. The Indians came. They saw that we drink it. We just don't care about it. They carried it and they invented Smooth. I don't know how many people know Smooth. Smooth actually is from Chapman. And they have killed our Chapman. Now, even in our weddings, we buy Smooth. And they're making money out of our technology. The same thing as mini chinchin. Mini chinchin, you see, the Duffy actually saw our chinchin. Fantastic product. You can keep it for 1 year in the shelf and you're still eating it at night. Our one is big one and small one is cracked. The other one is broken. We don't care. They took it, they developed the technology. Now when you enter their aircraft Dana, you will see that they give you mini chinchin. It's our own technology, but we don't care, we threw it out because of our low productivity. So, all these things we did, we even produced very high, but despite all these outputs and creativity, a number of universities, the real life to demonstrate our productivity in Nigeria is not very good. This is how children go to school in most Nigeria, despite whether it's in the north or south. A country that is boasting to export timber to the rest of the world cannot make bed tables and chairs for it. Look at it. This one I took is in Sokoto or Katina, I can't remember. Majority of our people in rural areas, this is how they drink their water if they are lucky. I am an agri-engineer, but I can tell you these are the engineers that are powering the agriculture in Nigeria, from Bayelsa to Maiduguri. And this is why they have been able to design things. And when we say the agriculture is the mother of all labor or employer of labor, well, these are the MDs and the chief executive officers in that sector, as far as we are concerned. And these are their product, very primitive. When we process, when I was little in Yola, I used to think gari is an Igbo food. But when I grew up, I went to university, I realized it is conventional food. You can have it with milk, you can have it with groundnuts, you can have it with honey, you can cook it and eat it with spinach, and so on and so forth. Very, very standard. If Nigeria knew what was in gari, anywhere they have a crisis in the world where there is food, it should have been gari that day. You can fortify gari with protein, and so on and so forth. But yet, we have over 500 full professors in cassava technology in Nigeria. But yet, we plant cassava manually, we harvest it manually, we even eat it manually. We have not gone to the next step, you know. And then what we suffer to produce, we market it terribly. This is the supermarket in our rural areas. Our young people, when they graduate from universities, some of them cannot see any opportunities in this country. They start marketing and selling Chinese-made things. To me, the paradox, the fundamental hidden challenge is that it is not that we don't have the scientific community. We do. And it's not that we don't understand technology. We do. And it's not that we don't know innovation. We do. Unfortunately, the paradox is that these three classes are running away from each other. You will very hardly see a Nigerian product that has come from Nigerian science. And it is intellectual property protected. The scientist is making money out of it. And it is branded and being sold in Korea. Very, very difficult to see. This is the paradox. And so we have to realize that it is not just about having the scientific community or the technology community or innovation. For you to connect it with your people, there's always a value of that. If you don't understand this, your productivity will be in question. So what do we do to overcome this? We have to turn the arrows and say, hey, Nigerian science, come back and work for Nigeria. Become Nigerian technology. Nigerian technology, please become Nigerian product. Through fora like this and the efficiency of the productivity center, we have to continue to push these circles until they overlap. When they overlap in the middle there, that is the sweet spot. Some countries have gotten all these circles fully overlapped, and that is when you would have built a bridge over the valley of death, and then your knowledge can actually move and help your people. As I conclude specifically, what we need to do, and DG know this, PAMSEC is here, is that we have to literally shock treat the evolution of knowledge system in our country. Let us not just leave universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, technical institutions to survive just as schools. We've seen it. We have to make sure that these places are not just training centers as schooling. There must be centers of excellence when it comes to research and development and experimentation. Everything that we require to move our country to the next level must happen in this. That is where you have the professors, the laboratories, the workshops, and everybody. And we must also make sure that we push this institution to become production and industrial centers. If you don't show examples coming from the universities and research institutions, who will do that? We have to make sure that these institutions become enterprises who need to sell their products to survive. University of Ibadan and MIT in America are similar. They are both universities. When you go, they have big, big gates with their names. We are equal. They have professors, we have professors. They have lecture theaters, we have lecture theaters. They have students, we have students. But when you ask MIT, how much are you reaping from the world and America by selling your own intellectual property? MIT will say, we're getting $1 trillion every year. Then ask University of Ibadan. University of Ibadan will tell you that we're waiting for government budget before we can start. That is the paradox. That has to change. And then we have to ensure that these intellectuals in these institutions must be tools for collaboration nationally and internationally. We will not, DG PAMSEC, don't stop until you start seeing when the president is flying out to any meeting, he also carries intellectual professors in that plane. So that when they go, the discussions will be knowledge transfer based, not just shaking hands and drinking tea. I'm not saying that is what they do. So, and when you do that, when you get these institutions refocused like this, the kind of human capital that is coming out of this university will be very innovative entrepreneurs and leaders. And Ibo Cha, who is about to leave Nsukka, does not even want to hang around in the southeast. He is thinking of how to go to Sokoto to take advantage of the red goat because the leather is a premium leather in the world. That is what is going to come out when you have that. You will have students who cannot wait to leave university to become productive. I'm sure when you hear they say Bill Gates left school, he is a school dropout, and so on, we take it literally. No, Bill Gates saw an opportunity, and he realized that this schooling, he has to wait for another 2-3 years to graduate, it's going to waste his time. So he stopped it, and he jumped at it. But he came back and finished it. It is not a literal dropout, he wasn't. And then when you have students coming out of such universities, they will have high values. And there is know-how, and they will have managerial skills, and then organizational skills because you taught them properly. And then these students can be able to recognize the opportunities in the system so that their value and potential of the natural environment, they will take it. Today, market for organic products is at the highest level. Our whole farming system is organic, but our young people will continue to walk the street without employment. We will see that these young people will be able to come together to organize, to produce and process commercially, literally to create an aptly viable solutions for development. Socially, such students coming out of this system will be students who are good to network and create strong connections. Not, I am Igbo, I am Fulani, I am Hausa, I am Yoruba, and you are fighting each other for territory. No, students coming out of these institutions will now start saying, hey, my Sokoto friend, we are going for a break to Sokoto today. The Sokoto chap will say, my mother makes oil, we have to go to Benin to go and look at palm oil. Oh, I'm interested in rubber. They will do these connections to become strong and productive people. They will share knowledge, experiences and difficulty and opportunities, and they will be matured to negotiate, discuss and work jointly instead of to fight and see what we're seeing now. It is only when you have this that you can be able to maximize your technical capital so that you are efficient and your financial capital work for you. It is this connection that produces what we normally call the triple helix in academia. You have the government supporting it, the institutions are working and powering industry, and that vicious circle continues to demonstrate that we have broken the paradox of development. And you don't need to sing anything. You will see this happen. You will see that our satellite technology is helping us to actually build our roads, plan our trains, do our power stations. You will see that our communication satellite is reeling out internet everywhere. Imagine if every single primary school in this country had internet connection. In 2 years, Nigeria will change forever. We will see that the engineers will be working. You will see small tractors, big tractors. Our agriculture will now spiral and be very, very effective. So that the biotechnology that they study, you will see it in ordinary farms in our villages. You will see our cows, with big udder. Now they're saying herders and farmers crisis. Cows that have this type of udder cannot move for 10 meters. So the cows that is running up and down causing confusion are not milk cows. They are just cows. And also when you have beef cows, they cannot move for 10 meters because they are heavy with meat. Our own can move for 1,000 kilometers because whatever they are carrying, I call them athletic cows to be quite honest, so that they are very fit. So, and then with that, you can see even small scale